5 years ago, I decided to pursue my PhD, and I regret making that decision. In case you're thinking about starting your PhD, I would like to share 4 ideas to broaden your perspective and to help you before making a decision. And yes, this is a video which I wish I had seen 5 years ago. Let's start with the obvious. You need to have a real passion for the subject and some deep intrinsic motivation. Look, I've done computer science most of my life, and the field that I've chosen, immersive technologies, so VR and AR, these used to be some really niche topics towards which I have felt curiosity. I felt there was some wasted potential and that people wrongfully believe that VR and AR headsets are just gimmicks. So way before starting my PhD, I've built some small applications in VR and AR just to get a sense on the topic. And I liked it. I visualized myself committing to building applications and doing research just on that. So yes, I think that before you begin your PhD, you should have the fundamental understanding of the field and to be directionally correct from the very beginning. I knew I wanted VR and AR since day one. I just wasn't sure about the details. And that's okay. You can figure that out along the way. The topic of your PhD can change drastically. It's not an irreversible decision. However, I think it's better if you start with something that you're really passionate about. When it comes to motivation, different people decide on pursuing a PhD for many reasons. Is it for career advancement, personal fulfillment, or maybe something else? I think that the stronger the why, the easier you'll be able to get through the difficult times. It sounds cheesy, but I think it's true. My motivation was that I see myself teaching one day. A PhD can be a requirement depending on the country and also depending on the university. Point number 2, you need to ensure that you have the proper support system around you. I know this may sound strange, but I strongly believe that a PhD is actually a team game. This process has not been constructed for you to be alone. Of course, you're the leader, you're the orchestrator, but you have other people to play with. And because it's a team game, you need to pick your teammates. And the first teammate you'll have to choose is your advisor. So please, make your pick wisely. Not all professors that have an interest in a topic directly translates to the fact that they're knowledgeable and can support you on that respective topic. The PhD can be an exploration process for both of you. I fully understand. However, you need to make sure that your advisor knows the waters and knows how to steer the ship. With other words, make sure that your advisor has strong knowledge on the topic, that he has published highly valuable research on the topic, and that he is well connected to other peers in the industry. If he or she checks all of the above, that's a major green flag. I wish I've done this due diligence before committing. Also, the university may have study groups on your selected topic. It would be ideal if you can become part of student teams that are on the same boat as you are. Exchanging ideas with other students and professors, I believe, is crucial for your success. This is something that I wish I had. I really think it would have helped me immensely. 3, your expectations and your advisor's expectations must be aligned. You need to know your why and you need to know your advisor's why. And these two need to have some common elements. Otherwise, the relationship will not work. I think this is one of the key mistakes that I did, and maybe we can expand on that in a future video. The passion for research is one thing, but a PhD collaboration, I believe, is transactional. So make sure you have this honest conversation with your advisor before you commit. Additionally, I can already tell you from the very beginning that your advisor's expectation is probably to treat this PhD as a full-time job. You need to have a very honest conversation with yourself. Do you want to dedicate most of your time doing that for the next couple of years? Can you support yourself financially also if you proceed this way? And yes, I know most universities do offer scholarships, but there tends to be a tough competition. I think most PhD students do their PhDs without any financial support from their universities. Would you be willing to also do that? Dedicating your time for research is very noble, but you have to make sure that your future quality of life is realistic and is aligned with your needs and wishes. Otherwise, as you can imagine, it would only bring on stress. 4. Last but not least, and this is somehow related to point number 3, you need to decide on an approach. You can go top down or bottom up. By top down, I mean you can start with your application first and theory after. Bottom up, as you can imagine, theory first, application after. I've been exposed to these two main methodological approaches in my attempts to tackle this PhD, and I would like to expand a tiny bit on that. So option number one, you invest 12 months just to read theoretical stuff related to your topic, books and research papers. In my case, which is virtual reality applied in education, meant that I had to read philosophy. I had to read psychology and papers on immersive technologies. I had to answer questions such as, what is reality? What is education? How do we as humans learn? The idea is that after 12 months, you would be in a position to identify gaps in literature in which you could bring some inputs. And by input, I mean building applications, experiments, and testing assumptions. Think of it like discovering a house brick by brick. Once you get to the top, you need to think, what brick would make sense for you to add to the house? Honestly, this approach did not work for me, but maybe it could work for you. I don't think that mentally I could conceptualize something in this way. So it was extremely difficult for me to read very theoretical books on topics that I was lacking fundamental understanding. And then option two, you think about the application that you want to build. You think about the target audience and the environment in which you can test it. In my case, I've built a VR application that teaches engineering students how to build submarines during the underwater engineering course. So it's application, audience, and environment. After having the idea of the application, you go back to literature and try to find some gaps in the chosen field that could be applied to your application. To give you some examples, correlation between the flow state and performance in VR, creativity and inhibition in VR, or even motivation in VR. These topics could use more investigation, and the application built by me attempts to do exactly that. Lastly, the experiments conducted using the application should test some assumptions and ultimately drive some conclusions, ultimately contributing to the advancement of the field. That was a longer video than expected. Anyways, I'll let you crunch this info in hopes that you'll make the correct decision for yourself. I'm thinking also of creating a series of videos related to my PhD. What do you guys think? If you feel this video has been valuable, feel free to subscribe, like the video, and most importantly for me, drop a message in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, game on.